listening to Gold to the Touch with Callum, Kai and Chris.
Happy to be back. Exciting.
Yeah. A lot more enthusiasm than last week.
Yeah, I'm actually
better than ever to
quite
the
buzzing
Thursday.
to be back this week.
So we set the theme this week. Well, I set it with my recommendations that we'll talk about later on. But the theme is, I don't know, do we narrow it down? It was like cursed relationships or failed romance.
Yeah.
It was along them lines. As positive as always.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
But I think, yeah, this is the first week where we've had about 4 hours worth of music planned out that Chris had to narrow down. But
yeah.
demons in the closet there.
We've all had experiences with neglect and rejection and sadness when it comes to love. So I think we're the guys for the job this week.
Kai's angry bitterness is just coming out straight away. In the first
No pretenses. I'm just laying it all out on the table.
So, going forward, Chris, we got lists, fan mail,
we do.
recommendations.
We got a special sponsor again later.
Special sponsor. Talk about the Spotify,
That's going well.
Beam,
Yeah. So
and Twitch.
So Kai said before that in the first link, Callum's mic's going to just go all weird, and that's exactly what happened. You're fine until just your little talking there, you just like turn into a robot.
Oh, I knew it was going to be me that has technical difficulties.
Yeah,
You're fine now.
It's back to normal now.
Alright, well, it's been touch and go. We've worked with technical difficulties before. We survived the sabotage when we were on college. I'm sure we can get through a couple of mic issues.
Exactly.
It's fine. Alright, it's going to be touch and go, I think. I'll just input little and often and hope it works.
Fingers crossed.
So, Chris, do you want to introduce the list?
Yeah, I completely forgot it was the list first, so I'll just quickly get it up.
Shambles.
Top quality professional production.
Just like Chris's last relationship. I don't know why I said that. That's out of order. I'm sorry, Chris.
Well, funny you say that, because today's list is all about the top 10 ways to break up with your significant other.
Oh, nice.
So, if you're in an unhappy relationship and you're trying to find out a good way to break up with them, here are 10 ways to do it.
Sounds good.
Excited.
So
I don't like that
10,
pause he does before number 10.
And number 10 is have sex with their sister, mother, brother, or grandfather.
Right. Yeah, that'd do it, to be fair. Why grandfather, though? That's too far.
You never know,
cut,
they
innit?
could have an attractive grandfather.
Yeah, but that's disrespecting the elderly. Although they disrespect young people every time they go to the voting booths. Am I right?
Topical joke there.
Number 9.
Number 9 is tell them that you support Donald Trump.
Yeah, that'd do
Yeah,
it.
that'll probably do it as well. Though some people might be.
Yeah, might be into that. They might be MAGA fans.
Possibly.
Did anyone see him trying to like walk down that ramp the other week?
Where he starts like waddling like a penguin.
Yeah. Yeah, it was embarrassing.
And number 8, we have listen to Radiohead loudly every day until they get too depressed to stay with you.
Yeah. I genuinely feel like I did do that in like a past relationship, to be fair.
I'm sure we all have been there.
Yeah. It's a good one though.
I'm there at the moment.
Oh, don't say
It is a
that.
strong.
Well, what if your
Number
current
7.
girlfriend is listening?
So at number 7, we have fake your death.
And move
Sorry,
to
how would you
Cuba.
do it? That's not faking your death. That's just you moving countries.
Yeah, but everyone that fakes their death goes to Cuba.
The 6th entry on the list was move to a new country without telling them and never speak to them ever again.
Oh, sorry, I've jumped the gun there. Although I would go to
So
Cuba.
Kai's moving to Cuba.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go to Cuba.
No, I would, yeah. Cuba seems cool.
Warm and communist.
Exactly. Shout out communism.
Tony Montana's from Cuba. He was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. A lot of good cocaine there.
Number 5 is delete them off all social media, and if they ask why, pretend that you have no clue who they are.
It's a good shout. Oh, did you hear that?
I wonder
voice
if people
crack
have done
there?
that.
I'm sure a lot of people have done that. It's such a easy way to do it.
Yeah. I think it's probably easier if you're in like a new relationship that's quite recent.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably couldn't do it if you've been together for like 5 years.
Not with that attitude, you can't.
True. I'm a pessimist. What can I say?
Number 4, we have refused to watch any movie other than God's Not Dead 2 until they go insane.
That's a good shout because I've seen God's Not Dead 1 and that is awful.
I didn't even know they made a second one.
Yeah, they did.
Neither did I.
Bigger and better than the first.
Bigger and better, bigger scale. It was the end game to the God's Not Dead.
That's a very
series.
aggressive name for a film as well. God's Not Dead. Because he was never alive because he doesn't exist.
You have to keep all your religious views to episode 10 when we do our religion episode.
Yeah, true. I'll keep that quiet then.
So number 3, commit them to an asylum without their knowledge.
It's like that Peep Show episode where they try and get each other sectioned.
That
Yeah,
was
that's a
what
good
I thought
shout.
of when I put that on.
Yeah. I think it could be done
Good
as
shout,
well.
to be fair.
Has anyone seen the film Gaslight?
No, but I know of it.
Yeah, because that's essentially what happens in that.
So number 2 is send your sex tape to their family.
Jesus, Chris.
Jesus. Keeping him with the number 10, that one.
Yeah. You've got a very incestuous list this week.
So, and number one is just break up with them and don't be a fucking coward.
Wow.
Solid. We
Yeah,
should start
no, I
a dating advice section.
Yeah, because we'd definitely be great for that, wouldn't we?
I don't know, it seems like Chris has got it down.
3 fucking losers.
A new segment from now on will just take new fan mail from people who are in problems in their relationship and we give them advice.
Yeah. Yeah. I really don't think that would be very helpful, though. From us, anyways. I think there's probably better people you can speak to.
I think anyone. not
Because,
necessarily.
Callum's given me advice in the past, and I'm not going to lie, it's always been awful. When I was trying to break up with my first girlfriend, he told me to buy a full suit of body armour and just break up with her in her car and then open the door and roll out. That was his advice for me.
I guess it would have worked.
You did? Yeah, I think it would have worked. I didn't see the big deal.
Yeah, maybe.
She did it in Ladybird. I mean, she wasn't breaking up with anyone, but
Yeah, she was just angry at her mum. Bit different. But...
close enough. Since we've returned, we've been picking up sponsors every week. We've had Farbox, Skooma sponsored us last week, and as always, they emailed us on culturetouch2020@gmail.com. And Chris, you got another one through, didn't you, today?
Yeah, I did. So they sent another audio sponsor in, so I will play it for you guys.
Are you tired of your significant other? Does the idea of having to listen to them talk make you want to blow your brains out? Well, try Mr. John's world famous Hitman. With us, you can choose how, where, or when you want us to take your soon-to-be ex-lover out. With the cheapest rates in the business, why would you want to use anyone else? Plus, every time you use us, you get added perks to your account. These include a free bottle of cyanide for those who want to try it themselves. Plus, if you order 10 10 hits, you get the 11th one free. If you sign up using the code C to the T, you get 20% off your first order, plus a free month of our subscription service in which we will take out one person of your choosing every month. That is MrJohnsHitmen.com for all your hitmen needs. We are not liable if you get arrested for hiring a hitman, and anyone who squeals on us will be excruciatingly murdered.
There we go, Mr. John's Hitmen. Thanks for sponsoring us.
Wow, thank you very much. A useful service that I'm sure many of our listeners will definitely use.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Especially, what was the code? Cold to the touch.
Yeah.
And a free bottle of cyanide,
I
apparently.
am. There we go. I'm excited. I know Kai's definitely going to sign.
Yeah, I need to get a significant other really before I can use that service. But
Well, the beauty of them is that you can use them for anyone. It's not just significant others.
Oh, I've got many people on my list then. I will be getting in contact with Johns, Mr. Johns.
Talking, obviously each week we've done recommendations. So we've had Easy Rider and Lou Reed's Berlin. We've had Johnny's Got His Gun and
Freewheeling Bob Dylan.
Yeah. So it was my turn to recommend. I picked most of his albums carry the
Yeah, your microphone's playing out.
Your mic's fucked again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you might have to say everything you just said again, though.
Oh, no. Alright, so did we hear about...
We heard about past recommendations.
Yeah, alright, so... Them with the theme of
It's just,
Kurt's
it
recommendation.
just doesn't want him to.
No, it went fucked again. Try
I
it
don't know
again.
when to- Can you hear me again?
Yeah. Try it again.
Alright, third time lucky. So... Is it gone?
As if.
It's literally any time you try and actually say it, and then it just comes back when you give up.
Alright, strong start. So, obviously, the recommendation was Father John Misty's I Love You, Honeybear. He could have picked any album apart from pure comedy, really, because the rest of them all sort of follow the same thematic ideas, I'd say. His newest album, less. I think that's more about his sort of personal struggles with his life, but there's definitely tinges of him talking about romancing. But I Love You, Honeybear, the whole album's based around sort of his idea and him sort of grappling with the concept of marriage, meeting someone and being sucked into something that he wasn't sort of against, but like he lived his life as, well, a quote womanizer, he said, and he sort of comes to terms with now he's got to settle down and he finally sort of feels that he's ready, but he's not quite sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. I've listened to Pure Comedy and is it Favourite Worst Customer, his latest album?
God's Favourite Customer.
That's it, God's Favourite Customer. I really like them, but I hadn't listened to this one. So, yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting lyrics, mostly, is what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah, there's definitely tracks that are written stronger than others. Like, I know Chris said his favourite song was Strange Encounter, but there's Nothing Good Ever Happens at a Goddamn Thirsty Crow, which when we saw him live, midway through that, he stopped singing that thing and just airboxed for about a good minute and a half.
Yeah, I remember that, actually.
With
Yeah,
the air.
yeah.
So that song's all about basically his womanizing days and him not liking what he saw when he was in the pub and trying to chat with anyone and anything. And he sort of comes to terms with that he hates it used to be like that he never settled down and he just had one night stands. And it's actually named after a pub in LA called the Thirsty Crow that he used to drink at frequently. Okay. So
yeah, no, that track was good, to be fair. I think my favourite track is probably Ideal Husband. I enjoyed that a lot. I thought the lyrics are really interesting.
And it just comes to this absolute crescendo of chaos at the end as well, when he starts
Yeah.
singing about coming back drunk and just accepting that he's going to have kids eventually, and he's gonna. I think he's like, let's put a baby in the oven.
Yeah.
It's one of the last lines of it.
Yeah, he just screams it as well.
There's so many. Oh.
I was going to say, going into this album, the only song I'd ever heard by him was Holy Shit. Or at least that was the only one that I could remember, like, going out of my way to listen to.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of my highlights on the album.
Yeah, that was a good song as well.
It's probably the darkest one on there as well, where he just sings about how he thinks love's like a consumer. Oh, it's like part of consumerism, and everyone just does it because they have to keep resources in the world alive, which is terrifying.
I thought that was a really interesting take on it, because when I thought about it, he's kind of right. Like, if people didn't get married, a lot of like resources and stuff wouldn't actually exist. The world would be so much different. Like, when you think about it, it's kind of crazy. So I thought that was a really interesting take on things, to be fair.
Apparently he wrote it on his wedding day.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Could you imagine? I think, to be fair, out of the album, there's only one song that's, I mean, it's still good, but I don't prefer as much as the other one, and that's True Affection. But I think that's just like personal preference. I just wasn't a fan of the sort of thing. But the rest of the songs are all written strongly. They're all distinctive. It's a wild album.
Yeah. The only problem I found was I thought his vocal performance got a little bit repetitive on a few tracks.
It always confuses me because he's got a live album out, which is Off Key in Hamburg, and his voice is so much better live than it is on the studio versions.
Yeah, I've got to say, when we saw him at Guildhall, he sounded amazing. But then when I listened to him on record, it's kind of like quite samey. Like he doesn't really change it up very much.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think it brings it down. Like, I still think there's some strong elements. But I mean, you can tell that it's all written by him. I also found out, it's not really related to the album, that he writes for a lot of pop artists as well. And he wrote Lady Gaga's. I can't remember what the album's called. She's like
Joanne,
and he wrote a lot of Lemonade as well by Rihanna.
It's Beyonce.
How do you constantly get them confused?
They're just the same, aren't they, at this point?
He wrote a song on that album that had like 30 writers or something ridiculous, including the singer from Vampire Weekend.
Bloody hell.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of my favourite albums from him, especially with like the slower tracks like Bored in the USA. He's got that on there as well. I went to the shops one day as well. It's another sort of slowish one. It definitely sort of rises up and then sort of slowly goes back down, which is nice as well. Like, if you listen to it in order, you can see his sort of thought process behind writing it.
Yeah. It was kind of written like you say, like where it goes, it's sort of like peaks and troughs. And it kind of reminded me of like a relationship where you have like these super, super high moments and then like really low moments. So I thought that was quite clever how he paced the like track listing out like that.
Yeah, so there's another song he does on his latest album called Disappointed Diamonds. And the rarest of them all. And basically the whole song's based it's sort of a follow-on from this. But he sings that he's just sort of accepted that not all relationships are perfect, but he's lucky to be in one that's sort of the majority of the time a lot better and a lot stronger. And it sort of secures his doubts. But yeah, I was excited. I'm glad everyone got to listen to it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I think I preferred Pure Comedy, but this is probably my second favourite album by him.
I still think I don't know. I can't really rate him. I do
a bit too long for me.
Yeah, it's very long.
There are some long songs. I do like his first album a lot. There are some good songs on his first album. I couldn't really rate him, I don't think.
I was watching Anthony Fantano's review of his most recent album, and someone put in the comments like comparing all of Father John Misty's albums, like quality-wise, to Kendrick Lamar's albums. So you have like his first album, which is like Section 80, this album, which is like Good Kid, Mad City, and then Pure Comedy, which is like To Pimp a Butterfly, and God's Favourite Customer, which is like, damn.
To be fair, he's not
Strong
wrong.
comparison.
I thought it was like pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that was pretty spot on.
Go. All right, so are we rating it?
What would we all rate it? I would give it 4.5 Cold to the Touches out of 5. I know I didn't talk a lot about it, but I really enjoyed it.
Callum's currently showing us his Father John Misty shirt on the video call.
Nice.
I'd probably give it 4 Cold to the Touches out of 5.
I'd give it 5 Cold to the Touches, but I'm biased, I guess, in that respect. but I can,
Right.
I
was
can live with
biased
that.
last week as well.
Yeah, so I stand by the 5 for that. Going forward, we have 2 recommendations. This one being a little bit different from the 2 films last week. So we recommended I or 3 by the Lumineers. I'm not going to go through every track because we'll be here for days. There are 10, but the main thing is that it follows the Sparks family sort of battle with addiction. It's not the most light-hearted of albums, and there's no light-hearted sort of uplifting tracks on there, I wouldn't say. But obviously, it follows the Sparks family, and it's all based around the lead singer and I think it's one of the guitarists' life and their sort of parents' battle with addiction and all that sort of exciting jazz. They don't really declare what sort of addiction they were battling with, but I mean, following on from the themes is probably alcohol.
Yeah, there was a lot of alcohol abuse in the short film.
Yeah, so I'll go through a few tracks because I don't want to go through them all. The first one, obviously, It Wasn't Easy to Be Happy for You. I was on there, so that sort of comes towards the middle of the album. Well, it's the 4th track on there, and it follows Jimmy. So he's the youngest son of I think it's the 2nd generation. There's a lot of like conspiracies around it.
Yeah, there's
And
loads of
different-
theories about the timeline and like who's related to who, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, so basically, we're introduced to Jimmy. So he's the dad, and we'll talk about him in the next track. And his son, who's been left by his girlfriend. The video centers around him sat in a car. It's not quite clear whether he's sort of hallucinating or is there, and then it jumps forward in time to when she's not there. But they wrote it just as a straightforward breakup song. There's a lot in there where he sings about how he resents her. And basically that she just completely shut him out of his life. Quite an aggressive song, but the main interesting part is that they recorded it at night. I don't think they recorded it in the studio either. From what I read, they recorded it, I think it was in just a normal house, and it was all done acoustically with just like a different sound to what they were normally used to, and it was mixed later on to give it sort of a raw feel to it, which is quite cool.
It does sound like that as well, to be fair. Like it's like spacey sort of sound to the song.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because I think isn't the video, is that the part where he's like in this open field sort of thing with his girlfriend on the hood of his car?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it works. I liked it a lot.
I think it's definitely clever. Going forward, I'm trying to think of other tracks. So Jimmy Sparks was probably one of my favourites in the video because it follows on from probably the darkest part of the video, which is My Cell, which is the song before, where he gets beaten up and essentially robbed in a motel room.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a bit much. And this, like, if you listen to the song without that video as well, you wouldn't sort of put that image across. There's definitely a bit of a.
Yeah, I mean, the slow motion crossbar to the head and then blood spurting out was a bit much for me. I won't lie.
Yeah. So obviously Jimmy Sparks. I don't know about Chris's opinion because Chris said he sort of dropped off at this point of the album, or he wasn't. The momentum wasn't keeping it going for him.
Yeah, for me, I felt like the first 3 songs, or at least that part of, like, the story visually, I thought that was the most interesting part. And then afterwards, I just didn't have my attention grabbed as much. I didn't think any of it was like bad or anything. I just was more invested in like the first 3 songs, the alcoholic wife like who gets sectioned at one point and then comes back. I thought that was more interesting than any of the other stories.
Yeah, so obviously another one from Jimmy's perspective was Jimmy Sparks, which is him singing. Basically, it's getting towards the end of the album. It's in its climax, and he basically says that his life's sort of been ruined from this point onwards, and he just wants the universe to sort of give him a break by this point. And then we go on to Salt and the Sea, which is where the dad, so the last generation, just sort of accepts that he's the villain of the story and he's ruined sort of his son's life going forward from there. So it's all uplifting.
Yeah, doesn't his kids go and like rob a bank or something?
Yeah,
that was the impression I got.
Yeah, he does. So he pays off the debt, and then the dad sort of acknowledges he's a villain, tries to redeem himself by letting his son run away while he surrenders. Which I guess is uplifting for the son, but it's still quite dark. A dark path.
Can we just talk about how weird that kid's run was, by the way? he was like flapping his arms like he was like trying to fly. It was really weird.
But out of all the artists as well, I definitely did not expect them to come out with a concept album like this, especially from their first album, which is all juicy folk pop, and then it just to come 2 albums later with a concept album as dark as that is.
Yeah, I only know them from, is it Hey Ho or Ho Hey?
Hey, yeah, so that was their first. So they do go on to write an album after that, which is the second album, which was Cleopatra, which was about his dad's death. And then they also brought out a couple of Radiohead covers, and then one Bob Dylan cover, and then they disappeared for a couple of years, and then this just came out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, it's
pretty cool.
It's one of my favourite things, and because I listened to the album before I watched the video, because I watched the singles come in, sort of have that all added in, it's definitely made the album a lot better because I can listen to it and then visualise what's going on top of that. Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I think it's a really cool way to, especially if you're going for like a full-on like short film. I think it's just a cool way to do it.
Yeah, and it works. I don't see why more bands don't do it with their albums.
Yeah.
Chris, you got anything else
to add? Imagine a Radiohead one.
Oh my God, it'd be so morbid.
Literally.
To be fair, Pink Floyd's The Wall, like film, is basically kind of the same thing, and that's super depressing.
Pink Floyd at best.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Pink Floyd.
All right, Chris, trying to give it a rating?
I'll give it 3.5 Cold to the Touches out of 5.
Aye.
I'll probably give it a 3. Virgin on a 3.5.
Nice, and I will give it a 4 Cold to the Touches out of 5. I won't go for the 5 out of 5 this time. I'll keep it smooth. I'm going to stop waffling. Kai, do you want to talk about what we received?
Yeah, cool. So most weeks we get fan mail from some pretty deranged individuals, I'd have to say. This week's no different, unfortunately. All I really want is just a normal fan. But, okay, this guy, he goes, "Hello, Cold to the Touch. Me and my ex-girlfriend were both huge fans of the show. Unfortunately, a remark Chris made during the war episode caused me and her to break up. The remark in question came during Chris's list of films that should have had war sequels. The one in question was Kangaroo Jack in Iraq. Now, I find this funny, and usually my girlfriend would have as well. Unfortunately for me, her first boyfriend was a member of the fighting forces attempting to protect their country from the American invaders. His name was Saddam Hussein. You might have heard of him. Well, thanks to Chris trying to be funny, he's ruined my relationship because she left me to go back to Iraq to find another wealthy leader she can marry. Thanks a lot, you moron. It took me 37 years to finally enter into a relationship, and you ruined it in just 2 weeks. I want an apology, and I want it tonight. I'll be listening, and if I don't hear one, There will be trouble coming your way, Chris. I'll ruin your life like you've ruined mine. Thanks for reading. My name is Jack LeCrack, but please refer to me as Colin. I don't want my ex-girlfriend Samantha Hussein to realise this. I've sent this. So there we go. Colin there. Sorry for doxing you and reading out your first name, but I personally hope you find another girlfriend. But Chris, have you got anything to say? I mean, you ruined the man's relationship.
Well, if she got offended by something like that, then she clearly isn't the one.
He wants an apology, Chris. Are you going to skirt around the issue here?
No, because we don't negotiate with people. We stand by our morals, and if people don't like that, then they don't have to listen to us.
Okay, George Bush. I've heard we've also had another piece of fan mail, Chris, if you wanted to read that out.
Yeah, I'll read this out now. It doesn't tell me who it's from. It says, must be read on a desktop at the top. I've considered writing this email for a while, so let's start from the beginning. Loneliness seems to be something that has been apparent throughout this COVID lockdown. On one hand, I do like the time to myself, but at the same time, it's a very isolating feeling. Valentine's Day 2014 was one of the worst days of my life. Everyone had someone to be with, whereas my night was spent alone in a nightclub with old people. Anyone who can feel this way from time to time, but it's important to know what we're not alone in doing so. No one can escape the feeling of feeling alone. The idea is to appreciate the time we have to ourselves. Anyone can learn this superpower, the superpower of being alone. Lastly, I hope everyone learns that they don't need a relationship to feel valued. Within this email, there is a secret message that you must read aloud. This message will be revealed once the first letter of each line is either read aloud or written down. Please do not include anything below the above black line in this message, and do not read past this point until the message has been read aloud.
Solving puzzles.
He said.
As we're
ILLOFVE. So he's written I love anal down the side.
Wow.
And then at the bottom it says, if you have read this far, I commend you for your efforts. It is clear at this point that you are a gay boy who likes getting anally fucked, and there is nothing wrong with that. You are who you are. Kai, if you like using your bum hole as a sausage wallet, then go right ahead and get fucked up the bum as much as you like. Just don't shit yourself. Love the show, and remember, no homo.
Well, that's just out of order. Who sent that? I want names.
I'm afraid it's unmarked on the email.
I'll find out, Chris. I'm not being insulted on my own radio show.
Okay. You can track them down if you want.
I will. And guess what? I'll be using our sponsor this week, Mr. Johns, to take them out. So watch your back, whoever sent that.
There we go. So that's the fan mail for the week. All right. So we've spoken about recommendations. A lot of them are oldish, well, early 2010s. But this week's been a big week for new releases as well. So we've got 3 to talk about, which we've all seen, apart from one, which Chris has seen on his own because he's the only one moronic enough to watch it. So that's Five Bloods, King of Staten Island, and then Chris subjected himself to Artemis Fowl. So if we start with the Five Bloods, Kai, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I think I didn't really like the action scenes too much. I thought they were the weakest part of the film. But I've forgotten the actor's name. The crazy MAGA guy. I thought he was the most interesting character by far.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, it was just a really cool depiction of PTSD from Vietnam and being sort of brainwashed by American imperialism and thinking that America's number one and all this shit. I enjoyed it.
I watched it, and then loved it, and then thought about it a little bit more, and then thought I'd probably preferred it if it had just been sort of a character study rather than the action just sort of kicking in.
Yeah.
And then because there was definitely a lot of thought about Lost, what they've done, what they had sort of planned, what didn't work out. But obviously they flicked it on his head by the second half, and it just went all out batshit mad.
It did go off the rails a bit.
Yeah, it was also horrifying as well. Like there was a bit of a mine in it midway through, and it made me feel ill. Like
I could see that coming though.
I could see it coming, but I didn't expect it to
Yeah.
be as explicit.
Because the fact he was like walking
Yeah,
backwards
he was, like,
slowly,
yeah,
and it was just
Really
panned out for
conveniently
ages.
walking backwards. It was like, okay, when are you going to step on a mine and get blown up then?
Yeah.
The
It just made me think of that scene in Tropic Thunder where the exact
Yeah,
same thing
Literally.
the opening, obviously, quite hard to watch as well. A lot of
Yeah.
footage, but I mean,
Real
it's
life footage
topical,
of Vietnam.
timely. They can't really escape it, which I guess is one of the angles they were going for. Like, it was, can't deny
I've seen
that
a
it's
lot of people
happened.
take issue with it though.
I don't
A lot of
understand
people
how
don't
you
seem
could,
to
though.
enjoy, like the violence.
It's just kind of a Spike Lee thing to do recently. He did it in Black Klansman at the end as well.
Yeah.
Just seems like something he does.
I thought that really worked well in Black Klansman.
Yeah, I thought it worked a lot better in that than it did in this.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So I think, no, I can't speak on everyone's behalf, but I'd recommend it to people to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
I'd
not
say
a
check it
bad
out. It's on
film, no.
Netflix. It's free, so may as well.
Exactly.
I uploaded a video reviewing all three of these movies today. In that review, I basically said that I thought the first half was a bit dull, and I really enjoyed the second half. So basically, the exact opposite of what you guys have said.
To be fair, in the first half, there were loads of really weird cuts. I don't know if you noticed them. Like,
Yeah.
he just break the 180 rule, like, repeatedly. I was
It was-
like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can't, there's no continuity in this.
There was one
No,
shot that I
didn't
did.
really.
Sorry.
No, you carry on, man.
There was one shot I did like, which was one of the fight shots, and halfway through it went to like 4x3, and then it cut to previous footage, which was quite
Yeah.
cool. It was like a car shootout.
Yeah, I thought the, like, intercutting between different aspect ratios to differentiate, like, the time zones. I thought that was really cool.
I did like that, but they kind of just gave up with it halfway through. Then
Yeah,
the
they-
second half was literally just 16:9 the
Yeah.
rest of the film.
Yeah, true.
There we go.
Yeah, I just found a lot of the characters I weren't really invested in the first half, but the second half I kind of felt the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Especially Delroy Lindo, who's basically the main
That's
guy. I
him.
thought was
Yeah,
incredible
that was,
in the
that
film.
was the guy. Yeah, he was brilliant. He's literally so good.
Yeah, I thought his performance got better and better as the film went on.
Yeah,
And I liked
definitely.
his like monologue all about the government putting down black people, where he just
Yeah.
stared at the camera.
That was like something from Shakespeare. That was like a full-on like Shakespeare monologue to the camera. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
There we
Yeah,
go. King of Staten Island as well, which is another one. Chris, you weren't too sure because you weren't a massive Pete Davidson fan, were you? I was excited because of Bill Burr, and I don't mind Judd Apatow. Like, he has done. I don't have much of a dislike to him as you two do. Well, Kai, I know Kai's not
it's
a
not
huge
even
fan.
like I dislike him. I just think he's just kind of okay.
Yeah,
I haven't hated any of the films I've watched by him, but at the same time, I've not loved any of them.
I just think his films are all too long. And this is the only film
Yeah, they are.
that I didn't feel the length. I thought it worked. Like, I didn't even realise it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Or
I did think there was probably a good 20 minutes or so you could have cut out of it.
Yeah, I guess so. This had
Uh.
weird cuts in it as well. It was like the actors were like improvising, and they were like, the reaction shots were just weird. They didn't match up with what was being said in the actual film. But yeah, I thought it was really funny. I thought Bill Burr was great. He's got
Yeah, Bill Burr
70s
was
porn
fantastic.
stash.
Yeah, Bill Burr was my favourite bit about the film.
Yeah.
But I also am a big Bill Burr fan anyway, so I'm quite biased.
Yeah, same. I thought Pete Davidson was good as well. I thought he
Yeah.
was really
Yeah,
like human.
I don't really like him, but I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of the films like very autobiographical and about his early 20s and stuff.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
helped write it, I think, as well.
His father died, didn't he? He was a fireman that did actually die.
Mm.
I don't know.
And
I'd be
9/11,
interested
yeah.
to see what they do going forward, like especially in Bill Burr, because with like F is for family and stuff, I don't want him to fall in the same sort of father
Bill
aggressive
Burr's a
father
genuinely
role.
great actor, though. Like, he was really good
Yeah.
in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he was
See,
really
I
good.
haven't watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he's great in Breaking Bad for like the few episodes he's in it.
He's in a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. I've not gotten to where he is, but apparently he's really good in that as well.
Space
Yeah,
Boston.
I think he's like a genuinely good actor.
It'll be interesting
is.
to see where they
I
go.
I
but
like him a lot in F is for Family.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
And then
it.
Chris, you watched Artemis Fowl.
And I regretted doing so.
Is it that bad? Is it as bad as everyone says?
Yeah.
And it-
So obviously I went into it expecting it will probably be funny, it will be like worth the meme. Half of it was genuinely really funny, like the second half where it just goes batshit insane and just gets super over the top. But the first half is so dull. I honestly have no clue what anything that happens in the story. The acting is atrocious. Like Colin Farrell and Judi Dench both clearly do not want to be there. Like, seriously, by the end of the film, I literally have no clue anything that happened, what the purpose of the film was.
I'm
It
excited
literally
because that's like
feels
one
they
of
just
9, isn't it?
condensed- They're definitely not making a sequel.
They've
Didn't
got it.
Kenneth
isn't
Branagh
They'll-
direct this as well?
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh directed it. He hasn't made a
Jesus.
single good film, though.
Well, I like his what's his Shakespeare adaptation? Is it Macbeth?
He's made like a billion Shakespeare
Oh.
adaptations.
Well, one of them I liked. I can't remember which
Yeah,
one.
he did Macbeth a few years ago.
Is that the one with
Yeah.
Gerald Butler in?
No.
Oh, I don't know what one that is. I'm thinking of a waffle. I
Also,
won't be
Judi
watching it.
Dench has had a really bad year, or like few months. She was in Cats and now this.
I think she's just at the age now where she just wants to sign on to big money things and then retire.
Yeah.
She is quite funny in the film, completely ironically. There's a scene where she like flies down on a huge spaceship, comes out in this huge like green superhero costume and just says top of the morning to you.
Of course.
And it just cuts away. And it's like that scene never happened. It had no purpose in the film at all.
Oh dear.
There we
I
go.
think Kenneth Branagh's a decent director. I don't know why he's done this.
I'm trying to think of other things he's done.
Yeah, I guess. He did that Murder on the Orient Express a few years ago. That was good.
Yeah.
Wasn't
enjoyed
that
that.
good?
This film was in... They've been trying to make a film based on this series for almost 20 years now. It's just been in development hell. They started filming it 2 or 3 years ago and it's only just come out.
Oh, yeah, that explains
Been
a lot.
delayed like 3 or 4 times and then eventually just threw it onto Disney Plus. And I'm pretty sure they
Jesus.
cut 20 minutes out at the last second as well.
Brilliant.
I don't blame him for putting it on Disney Plus. Imagine if this had been a box office release because it had just shown
It
so
would've
much
tanked.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
I
Now
think
they've
more
got
people
Disney
have seen
Plus.
it
They
'cause
don't
it's
have
on
to
Disney Plus.
risk things anymore.
No, it's like Netflix. As much as Netflix puts out like really great films like The Irishman and stuff, and Marriage Story, it also puts out a lot of shit like The Wrong Missy.
How dare you?
And that new film from the Taken 2 and 3 director,
Oh,
the Last Days of American Crime. whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah,
Just awful. Just churns out a lot of shit.
there's no risk for them because no one notices if they're terrible. They don't lose anything. They don't
Yeah.
like the only things they can learn from is like their success with things. But people are always going to tune into things like The Wrong Messy because they put it right in front of you. It's easy.
Yeah. It's just there, isn't it? Like a lot of people, I imagine, get home from work, have dinner, they just want to relax with something easy to watch, and that's the first thing Netflix recommends. Plays a little trailer for it, and then they stick it on and watch it, and then they regret it an hour and a half later because it's
They watch
shit.
David Spade get raped twice, innit?
Yeah, raped twice. He gets a hand job on a plane that he doesn't want, and then she rapes him in the hotel room. It's sick. It's not even funny.
There we go. All right, Chris. What is coming up next week?
Yes. So next week we're going to go around the theme of summer because we're basically in the middle of summer at the moment.
It's a good shout.
Even if the weather right now would make you think otherwise. I originally was going to pick Kangaroo Jack as my film recommendation,
Fuck's
but
sake.
Kai voiced very strong opinions against it.
Yeah, because it's Kangaroo
So-
Jack.
So I thought instead I'd pick an actual good film. I know Kai's watched it. I don't know about Callum. I'm going to pick Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee.
Yes.
I just got the Criterion Blu-ray today, so I'm excited to
Very,
rewatch it
very
and talk
relevant
about
as
it.
well for the times
Yeah.
we're living in at the moment.
Excited.
And my album is going to be the White Album by Weezer because it's a very summery album.
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
remember when it came out in the middle of summer, I used to listen to it while drinking outside all the time. And I just have good memories of
Yeah.
that.
Also,
Always
it
connotated
relates
summer.
to this show with relationships because me and my ex-girlfriend love that album and we used to listen to it in the car all the time. So there we go.
There we go.
What a link.
So we'll tweet them recommendations out for us. But first, Chris, you can play us out. What is going to be the final song?